Hi everyone, I'm JT Pilot and today I'll be making another video. This time I'll be doing an airport day at my Jacksonville Fictional Airport. This will be the final airport day on my YouTube channel for the year of 2022. And this is for December of 2022, and this is the 25th airport date. So, yes, I'd like to welcome everybody to my last airport day for the year of 2022 today. So, yes, this is going to be a pretty jam-packed airport day. We have tons of new models, especially from NG models. We have lots of new NG models in this video. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. So I'd like to welcome everybody to this video. So, yes, and it'll be a pretty big channel at the end of this video discussing some plans for the year 2023. So just stay tuned for that. So, yeah, so today's airport day is jam-packed once again. And we even got some repaired models that are also making their debut in this video as well. So, pretty exciting times over here at Jacksonville Fictional Airport. So, and yes. So, nonetheless, we'll be starting with all the aircraft taxi around. And then we'll be starting off Terminal 1, Terminal 2, and Terminal 3, so nonetheless we'll be starting with the very first aircraft. Starting with the first aircraft with a bang here, which is the Delta Airlines Boeing 757-200. What a beautiful aircraft here, and this is the Gen 1 configuration. He's just riding from Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson National Airport, and making a return flight out there or Citrus Aviation's airport. If you want to subscribe, please check out the form in the link for that is in the description below. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft. Here, the beautiful Southwest Boeing 747-700 in the Heart Liberty with the blended wings that Waffle Collectibles exclusive. This aircraft will say he has just arrived in from Buffalo, New York. We'll say this aircraft will be heading to Cincinnati in Ohio. Moving on to our next aircraft. Moving on to our next aircraft. Here, the Finnair Airbus A350-900. This aircraft will be heading up to Helsinki in Finland. Really unique service there, and that's a beautiful NG model. Can't get enough out of that model. And then moving on to our next aircraft. Let's get that. Sorry about that. Sorry. There we go. Moving on to our next aircraft. Here, the flat out amazing NG model Southwest Airlines Boeing 747-700. And you can't believe that flat amazing November 2022 release. What a great NG model here. I just love this model. One of my favorite models for sure. Yeah, one of my favorite NG models from this year. So I did pre-order two just because this is the first aircraft I ever flown on as a passenger in real life, which is pretty exciting. And the flight was from Norfolk to Orlando, so. And that was years ago, and I really wanted to represent that in my collection, so that's why I purchased two of these. So I was King Blue and some pretty similar from NG models. They did a really great job on them, no complaints, so. Yes, and I'm pretty sure they did receive almost a perfect score, if not a perfect score with the JD score, so they are really great models. So, yeah, so this aircraft will say is just riding from Norfolk in Virginia. That, once again, that's the airport that my first flight took place. And we'll say this aircraft, we'll send him out to, we'll do Miami, Florida for him. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful NGL's JetBlue Airlines Airbus A321neo. Haven't got to use this one in a while, so we're going to be using it once again today's airport date. This aircraft is just riding from New York John F. Kennedy, and we're making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next model here, the Gemini Jets Iceland Airboeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft is just riding from Reykjavik, Keflavik, and we're making a return flight out there momentarily. So, yeah. And alrighty, so moving on to our next aircraft here, the Air Canada Rouge Airbus A321-200. This aircraft is just riding from Toronto Pearson and making a return flight out there. What a great engine model there as well. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the United Airlines Boeing 757-200 and the beautiful her right here in New York livery. One of my favorite models for sure. And this aircraft is just riding from Chicago. We'll do San Francisco for him. So he's just riding from San Francisco. Maybe make a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the Emirates Boeing 777-200LR. This aircraft is just running from Dubai, and we're making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Qatar Airways Boeing 777-300ER. What a file amazing engine model here, and he is just riding from Doha, and making a return flight out there. Can't get enough out of that model as well. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Southwest Boeing 747-800. This is the first NG release, and yeah. So this aircraft is just riding from Baltimore, and he'll be heading out to Chicago Midway. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Gemini Jets Air France Airbus A350-900. This aircraft is just riding from Paris Charles de Gaulle International Airport, and we'll be making a return flight out there momentarily. Moving on to our next aircraft. Moving on to our next aircraft, here's the Delta Boeing 717-200. This aircraft is just riding from Raleigh, Durham, and you'll be making a return flight out there. What a great route there. And yeah, really cool to see the 717 at Jacksonville once again. Haven't used it in a while, so we'll be featuring it on today's airport day. Moving on to our next aircraft, here at the beautiful NG Sun Country, Boeing 747-700. So this model has been repaired recently, and it's great to see this model back in the airport now. And yeah, so really haven't got to feature this model that much because they broke. So there you go. And the post for this model should be coming out soon on my Instagram account. I got a lot of cool and unique posts planned for my Instagram account in the upcoming days. So just stay tuned. Yeah, I got lots planned on there. So this Sun Country Boeing 747-700 has just arrived from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and he'll be making a return flight out there. And he'll just be doing a normal passenger flight. So yeah, there you go. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the American Boeing 747-800 with the New England logos. This aircraft is just riding from Dallas-Fort Worth, and he's making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, this Breeze Embraer ERJ-195 is touching down from a flight from Charleston, South Carolina, and he'll be heading out to Long Island Islip in the upcoming hours. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the Sunwing Boeing 747-800. This aircraft is just arriving from Toronto Pearson and making a return flight out there. Lots of Canadian aircraft today's airport day. A lot of Canadians are seeking to come to Jacksonville because it's slightly warmer down there. So, yeah. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful NG Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the Galaxy Edge livery. What a beautiful engine model here. This model has also been repaired, so it's great to see. And yeah, so this aircraft has just arrived in, we'll say he's just arrived in from Portland, Oregon, and making a return flight out there. What a beautiful model there. Yeah, post for that model should be coming on Instagram as well very soon. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Aeromexico Boeing 747-800. What a great engine model here. And yeah, he's just arriving from Mexico City and making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the United Boeing 747-900ER. What a beautiful engine model here. He is just riding from, we'll say he's just riding from Denver in Colorado, and making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next model, this Japan Airlines Boeing 787-9 has just riding from Tokyo, Haneda. And making a return flight out there very soon. Moving on to our next aircraft, the Delta Airbus A350-900, the beautiful Aviation 400 version has just arrived in, we'll say he's just arrived in from Amsterdam Schiphol International Airport and making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, the Sun Country 747-800, that beautiful Panama here. We haven't used this one in a while, so there you go. He has just arrived in from Madison, Wisconsin, and he'll make a return flight out there. That is a seasonal route, so great to see that. Moving on to our next aircraft, this Air Flyer Boeing 747-600 has just performed a charter flight from Calgary, and we're making a return flight out there. What a beautiful engine model. And featuring some new West Coast diecast GSC as well. And yeah. Interested in buying from the store, use my code JTPod for 5% off your order. Link for their store will be in the description below. We got lots of GSC over there, so that's a great GSC. Moving on to our next aircraft, the Silver HR-42 has just arrived from Pensacola and will be making a flight out to Tampa in the next few hours. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Angel American Airlines. It was the A320 in the Medal of Honor livery. And yes, this one's also been fixed, so I did receive another one, but that one came broken. But this one's fixed now, so no more hideous nose landing gear. I know a lot of you complained about that, so yeah, we got a new American A320 Medal of Honor livery, so A321. So yeah, this aircraft has just arrived. We'll say this aircraft has just arrived in. We did Dallas earlier, so we'll say this aircraft. We'll say he has arrived in from Charlotte Douglas International Airport and making a return flight out there. Lots of miles in today's airport. A pretty busy day over at Jacksonville. Moving on to our next model, the Air Canada Boeing 747 MAX 8. We'll say he's just riding from Vancouver and making a return flight out there. And the otherwise there was A340-300. We'll say he is just riding from Zurich and making a return flight out there. So that's it for all the aircraft taxiing around. Let's move on to Terminal 1. Alright, so moving on to Terminal 1, so starting with the first aircraft. Here we United Boeing 747 MAX 8. This aircraft is just riding from Newark and making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, here we United Airbus A319-100. This aircraft has just arrived in from Houston Intercontinental Airport, and he'll be making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, the United Boeing 747-900ER has just arrived in from Los Angeles, and he'll be making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, the United Boeing 757-300 has just arrived in from Chicago O'Hare, and making a return flight out there. What a beautiful Gemini Jets model here. Alright, so moving on to our next model. We got a brand new model right here. Here, the Aviation 400 Lufthansa Boeing 787-9. What a flat out amazing model here. Aviation 400 did a flat out amazing job. What a beautiful aircraft. You're grateful to have it. So this aircraft will say he has just arrived in from Frankfurt in Germany. He'll be making a return flight out there. So this aircraft will be replacing the A330 on that service. So really exciting development over at Lufthansa Airlines. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the British Airways Boeing 777-200ER. This aircraft is just arriving from London Heathrow, and he's making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the American Airbus A319-100. This aircraft has just arrived in, we'll say he has just arrived in from Philadelphia, and making a return flight out there. Moving on to the next aircraft here, the American Airbus A320-200 in the transcon configuration. He has just arrived in from Los Angeles, and making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Angel Miles Alaska Airlines Boeing 747-900ER. He has just arrived in from Seattle to Tacoma and making a return flight out there. It's been a little bit since we have featured it's been a little bit since we have featured a regular livery Alaska 747-900 over at Jacksonville. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Angel Miles American Airlines Boeing 747-900 with the normal winglets. Another new model right here. So, yes, what a beautiful model here. This aircraft is just running from Chicago O'Hare and making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft and the final American aircraft in today's airport day. Here, the American Eagle Embraer ERJ-175. This aircraft is operated by Republic Airways, and he has just arrived in from New York LaGuardia and making a return flight out there. And the New York LaGuardia service is a mixture between the American Eagle services and the American mainline. So that's it for Terminal 1. Let's move on over to Terminal 2. And alright, so moving on over to Terminal 2. So once again, we're not representing the current Southwest situation, so we're just going to assume this is just the normal Southwest operation over at Jacksonville today. And we do have we do have two new models over at the Southwest Airlines section. So start with the first aircraft. Here, the fourth release Angel Miles Southwest Airlines Boeing 747-800 in the Heart livery. This aircraft is just arriving from Phoenix Sky Harbor, and this aircraft will be soon heading out to Houston Hobby. And moving on to our next aircraft, what a beautiful model here. Definitely one of my favorite models from Angel Miles this year, which is the Southwest Airlines Boeing 747-800 in the Tennessee 1 livery. What a beautiful model here, and just beautiful model, just pure perfection over it. Yeah, this pure perfection by Angel Miles. What a great model here. Definitely one of my favorite models from Angel Miles this year. So the Southwest Tennessee 1 747-800 has fittingly arrived in from Nashville today, and he will be heading out to St. Louis. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Angel Miles Southwest Airlines Boeing 747-700 in the cane blue livery with the blended winglets. We'll say this aircraft has just arrived in, we'll do Kansas City, Missouri today, or MCI Aviation's airport. And yeah, so he's just arrived in from Kansas City, and we'll say he'll be heading out to, we'll do, what's a different route for him today? I'm trying to think of a good one. We'll say this aircraft will be heading out to, maybe we'll do, I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think of a good one. Sorry, guys. We'll say this aircraft will be doing a flight. We'll do Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Pretty cool Southwest route. So there you go. All right, move on to our next aircraft. So here we Southwest Boeing 747-MAX 8. This aircraft has just arrived in from Denver, and he'll be heading out to. We'll say he'll be heading out to Dallas Love Field today. Speaking of Dallas Love Field, here the Southwest Lone Star 1 Boeing 747-700. What a beautiful Pan model here. So we'll say this aircraft has just arrived in from the Lone Star State. We'll say he has just arrived in from, we'll do Austin, Texas for him. And we'll say he'll be heading out to Burbank in California today. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the wonderful Spirit Airbus A321 by Gemini Jets. Pretty interesting one here. It's a fairly decent Gemini release, surprisingly enough. And this aircraft has just arrived in from Chicago O'Hare. We may return flight out. Alright, so moving on some more miles over at Terminal 2. This section is staying fairly the same since the last airport date. So we got the Frontier Airbus A320 in the popular Prairie Dog livery. He's just riding from Cancun and be heading out to Trenton in New Jersey. Moving on to our next model, the Allegiant Airbus A320-200. We'll say he's just riding in from Bloomington, Illinois, and he'll be heading out to Des Moines in Iowa. Moving on to our next aircraft, the JetBlue Airbus A320-200 in Spotlight Tail. We'll say he's just riding from New York today, and we'll say he'll be heading out to Fort Lauderdale. And moving on to the final aircraft in this section here, the Breeze Airbus A320-300. He's just riding from Las Vegas, and we'll say he'll be heading out to Provo today. That is a brand new Breeze route, so pretty exciting route announcement there. Alright, so moving on over to Terminal 3, to start the first aircraft here, we Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-900. This aircraft is just riding from Cincinnati. He'll be making a return flight out there, and that is the Endeavor flight. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the Delta Boeing 747-800. We'll say this aircraft is just rising from Salt Lake City, and he'll be making a return flight out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, the Delta Airbus A321-200. We'll say he is just rising from Detroit, and he'll be making a return flight out there in the coming hours. These are all just beautiful engine models, right? Getting heavily serviced now here, the Delta Boeing 747-900ER. He is just riding in from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and he's making a return flight out there. And moving on to the final Delta aircraft for today's airport day here, the Delta Airlines Airbus A321neo. He's just riding from Boston, and he's making a return flight out there. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft. This engine model JetBlue Airlines Airbus A321 is now taxiing out. And yeah, so this aircraft, we'll say he is just riding from Los Angeles, and he's making a return flight out there. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft. So this is Boeing 787-9. This is operating for LATAM Airlines today. Has just arrived from Lima in Peru, and we're making a return flight out there. What a great flight here, and what a great new engine model. Another new model on today's airport day, and this is the last new model on today's airport day. There's a lot of new great models on today's airport day, all with excellent QC, so that's great to see. So once again, he'll be heading out to Lima. Moving on to our next model, we got a little aerial view of this beautiful Aviation 400 Virgin Atlantic Airbus A350-1000. Can't get enough out of this model. He's just riding in from London Heathrow, and he'll be making a return flight right back out there. Moving on to our next aircraft, this North Atlantic Boeing 787-9 has just arrived in. We'll say he's just riding from Oslo in Norway, and he'll be making a return flight out there. The beautiful Play Airlines Airbus A320neo has just arrived in from Reykjavik, Keflavik, and he'll be making a return flight out there. I love that engine model. Definitely one of my favorite engine models of this year. Moving on to our next model, the Flair Boeing 747-800 has just arrived in from Kitchener-Waterloo, and yeah, we'll say he'll be heading out to... We'll do Edmonton for him today. And moving on to the final aircraft in over at Terminal 3, we got the Viva Aerobus Airbus A320-200. He's just riding from Monterrey in Mexico, and making a return flight out there. Alright, so moving on to some more taxiing aircraft needs will be the final aircraft in today's airport day. So starting with our next aircraft, this WestJet Boeing 747 MAX 8 has just risen in from Calgary. He'll be making a return flight out there. That's a great Gemini model. Hopefully the engine model's release is coming up soon, because I'd definitely buy that model to replace this model. So moving on to our next model and our last model in today's airport day. Here, the beautiful Gemini just Cayman Airways Boeing 747 MAX 8. And yeah, he is just riding from Grand Cayman, making a return flight out there. And alright, folks, that does conclude today's airport update. So that is it for the last airport day of 2022. And once again, this was the 25th Jacksonville Fictional Airport date. And this was for December of 2022. So yes, this is the final video on my YouTube channel as well for the year 2022. And yes, I'd like to thank you all so much for the support this year. And we're currently at 757 subscribers, which is a pretty cool number to be at for a subscriber count for an aviation enthusiast. We've gained several hundred subscribers this year, which is really exciting. Lots of views, lots of likes, a lot of comments. And yeah, and hopefully my videos have given you guys some sort. Hopefully you guys have some sort of appreciation for my videos, whether in regards to getting information about models or just simply enjoying watching my videos for fun. Hopefully you guys have really enjoyed them. I enjoy making them. And yeah, so 2023 is upon us. So I'm going to give you guys a quick roadmap for January. So January of 2023, we'll be having another Norfolk International Model Airport date. That will be the first airport day of the year of 2023. So pretty exciting there. Of course, we'll be having our Jacksonville Fictional Airport date. Probably in the reviews will be returning soon, because I will not be doing some massive unboxings for quite a while. Just because it really has been a lot of releases recently. There's been a lot of releases recently, but I haven't really bought too many models, so we're just going to be going back to doing individual reviews. Hope you guys will enjoy that form of content. And January, we'll be having the engine models Boeing 747 MAX mold wishlist video. That should also be coming out very soon. Hope you guys will enjoy that as well. I should be receiving the new engine models December releases very soon. December releases, I should say Southwest Illinois 1, along with the American 787-8. I should also be receiving the new NG January releases as well, which were announced today, so that's pretty exciting on the day recording this video. Cannot wait for the Southwest Jacksonville Max. It's going to be a beautiful model. Yeah, can't wait for the Alaska Iron Desert Surface 747-900. And yeah, it's crazy to say all the model releases we've been getting recently. We should also be seeing the Gemini releases soon as well. Probably not going to be the best Gemini release, but you never know. They could drop a March 2021 release on us, so you never know. You never know. But yeah, you just never know. So yes, yeah, lots of exciting content is playing on my Instagram account, including some outdoor model photos of some of my Christmas models, which I haven't even posted about those yet. It's just been so busy recently, but yeah, it's crazy thing to say. So, yeah. And also in 2023, some other events planned in my life as well. So, yes, I'll be crazy to say in 2023 I'll be turning 17. That is just crazy to say. I just wanted to mention that, but yes, and I'll become a senior in high school, which that's gonna be insane. It's crazy how to say that, but that's coming up. Life is just flying by, especially recently. So, so. Yes, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video, and have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful New Year. So, yes, I'd like to say, I don't know if you guys had a wonderful Christmas as well. I certainly did. So, so once again, I'm JT Pilot. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.